Hi everyone, it's Roger and James here from the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking all about the HBO Max launching in the US and what it means for Disney and 20th Century Studios movies. We're going to be talking about Diary of a Future President second season. We'll be talking about a number of other bits and pieces as well this week, including a Kingdom Hearts Disney Plus show. But before we jump into any of that, just a big bit of housekeeping first off. If you haven't already done so, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. We just hit 41,000 subscribers. Massive number. We've really kind of jumped up this past week. So a big thank you to everyone for joining us. This is a weekly podcast that we do, and it's available on audio platforms as well, like Spotify, etc. So it's a bit more of a long form format than what we do the rest of the week on YouTube. Also, a big thank you to our Patreons for all of their support. And going to be a big thank you to Andrew, Giuseppe, Joshua, Julie, and also What's on Netflix for all of your support. It really does make all of the difference each week with the podcast as being able to go up in its current format. And you can join the podcast Patreon over at patreon.com/What's on Disney Plus. So let's jump into the news. So HBO Max launched this past week in the US, priced at $14.99 a month. If you've already got HBO with some other platforms, you've been able to kind of upgrade for free. There's also been some issues with it not being available on some platforms, but I'm going to throw this straight over to James first because he's actually been able to use it because obviously it's only out in the US. But James, what did you think of this so far?
I think it's been really good so far. It didn't seem to have any of the launch problems that Disney Plus had, or at least that I noticed. I did wait about a day just to give it a chance to sort those out, but I don't think I heard any reports of that. The launch lineup is amazing. Not just the HBO originals, but just the movies they have, including a surprise drop of the Harry Potter 1 through 8 movies, which was convenient for me because I'm actually doing like an online rewatch of them with some friends. Where we're watching them individually at home, but chatting about them. We're going to do The Prisoner of Azkaban, which is probably the best one.
Was it number 3? Yeah. It's that kind of thing. I think from like looking on from it from afar, the only issues that seemed to be happening was a lot of people were not happy with it not being available on a number of platforms like Amazon and Roku. Even though HBO was already available through Amazon, there's some kind of deal not quite worked out right, and that's got a lot of people upset. I mean, remember what Disney Plus went through when it wasn't on Disney, when Amazon was a bit slow. They managed to get it in time, but not enough just to have weeks and weeks of wrath. But HBO Max just didn't say anything.
No, and it is disappointing because one of my TVs is a Roku built in, so I can't do it natively on that, but I've got other ways to get it on there. So not a big deal, but I do understand Amazon Prime or Amazon accounts for a large number of smart TVs in the States, and then Fire Sticks and your Kindle Fire, stuff like that. So it is a pretty big market audience, and I can understand being frustrated that your Kindle or whatever doesn't work.
Especially if you are subscribed to HBO Max or HBO, and it should have become HBO Max, and now you can't get access to it. I think that's a little bit messy. I mean, you can now get access to HBO Max through Hulu, so you can subscribe through there, or if you're already an existing customer, it's kind of automatic. They're just trying to get HBO Max out on as many platforms as possible, but it kind of was a bit of an odd one because apparently I did read that the mobile downloads didn't even hit like 1 million. Because so many apps are just being upgraded, there wasn't a huge amount of people signing up. There was some slight deals and stuff, but nothing compared to like what we saw with Disney Plus. But it was a brand new app, and I think that's the important thing for a lot of people to remember.
Yeah, and it's also worth remembering, as you pointed out before, if you are an HBO subscriber through some of the biggest carriers in the States, then you automatically have HBO Max. So there was no reason for you to go in and sign up for it unless for some reason you didn't want $15 a month. I don't know. It's one of those interesting situations. I was thinking about this the other night. If you already have HBO, then of course you have HBO Max. And if up to this point you didn't already have HBO Now or HBO Go or whatever, I'm not sure there's enough here to justify suddenly making that jump. That if there wasn't before, then there isn't now. Certainly there are some movies, some shows that you can only get through this way, but is the content library enough? I think Friends, the TV show Friends, is probably like the big selling point for people who didn't already have it, in the same way that what am I thinking? Seinfeld or
The
some of those
Office
other
is,
shows.
yeah,
The Office. That's
yeah,
actually
big.
what I was looking for.
And also, I mean, they've just done. It's kind of really weird. It's like because they did put up an announcement saying that they've secured the rights to the Warner Brothers show, Young Sheldon, and I'm like, hold on a minute, you're having to put out. You think you've got rights to your own TV show? I mean, Disney did that recently with Hulu with a show that they got. We've now got access to Scandal, and you're like, yeah, but you did make it, so why wouldn't you? It's kind of an odd one of like, why to put that out on like the day after launch? Just seemed really strange.
But then you've got other things more relevant to us. Like if you go to the coming soon section, you can see Ford versus Ferrari and
Yeah.
Ad Astra, and like, but those are Fox movies.
Well, let's get into that right now because there is actually a lot of Disney movies and 20th Century Studios movies on HBO Max. Now, the reason for this is HBO and Time Warner, or whatever they wanted to call themselves 10 years ago, they signed a deal to bring their movies to HBO for 10 years. So it doesn't run out till at some point in 2022. We don't know if it's the end of 2022 or it's some way through it. But it was a 10-year deal, and that means that all movies go to them after they finish their releases at cinema and then on home video. So this is one of the big issues with things like, for example, Call of the Wild, Spies in Disguise, and New Mutants. We would probably look at them and go, they're Disney Plus movies, they're suitable for family friendly and all the rest of it. But they're going to have to go to HBO, and then they're going to have to kind of go through the cycle on there before they can become available. That's only in the United States. It will be different internationally. For example, Dark Phoenix is a movie that was available on HBO Max. That's available in Australia, and hopefully, I think I've seen that it's coming to some European countries. So it's starting to roll out internationally. And that is going to be the issue. But also going forward, there is a number of movies like the Mighty Ducks, the trilogy of them. There was also the Beverly Hill Chihuahua dog movies, some Santa buddies and treasure buddies, all the little doggy ones. They're all on there, along with like Underdog and a few other bits of business. So not a huge amount of Disney movies. They're kind of quite selective. It's the 20th Century library. It's massive. I mean, you got Alita Battle Angel. You've got pretty much just every movie from the last few years, and as we said, Ford versus Ferrari and stuff coming up soon. So it's a very, from our point of view, we will be talking about HBO Max much more over the next like 18 months or so than we would, for example, Netflix, which by the time we've only really got like 5 or 6 movies of the big ones left before that deal's kind of completely ended. But yeah, it's very complicated, and it must be so frustrating for people at Disney to kind of see all this content they make, and they kind of got to let somebody else have it instead of Hulu or Disney Plus.
It'll certainly make an interesting section of the documentary on the history of the streaming services and the 2020 streaming war or whatever when we're looking back at it. I'd also like to point out for all of you guys who are wondering why Dawn of Justice or Justice League are not on Disney Plus, they're over on HBO Max. Yeah. That's where you can find them. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that Avengers Justice League crossover that you've all been asking for. And it was kind of quite noticeable. I don't know if HBO was allowed or if they chose not to promote really any Fox content at all. In any of the adverts, any of the promotions, they were very much concentrated on their thing. But then even in their leaving soon section, they had a little like Batman movies, and it's obviously just existing contracts that they've got locked in as well. Well, I'm wondering because DC or Warner Brothers has their own streaming service specifically for the DC content. You know, they've got original series like Teen Titans and Doom Patrol and stuff like that, and then they've also got, or should have, the classic Batman movies, by which I mean the 1980 Tim Burton stuff, and then the Nolan mid 2000s, those kind of movies. But a lot of them are on HBO Max right now, and I think we're in the same situation as like X-Men Phoenix and movies like that where they had a pre-existing contract and they will eventually move it over to DC Universe, or it could go the other way. Honestly, if I was Warner Brothers, I'd probably be going, the DC Universe app hasn't been making too many waves. Let's just shuffle everything over to HBO where they can handle the risk side, and we just hand them shows and throw them up there.
That's been one of the major complaints really about HBO Max, the confusing launch. I mean, they put up this video of like these 3 different versions you could get, and it was like, wow, if you're having to put out a video explaining it and people are getting to the end of it and then they're going in the comments going, what's all this? That's not to, I mean, Disney have that as well. So let's not, they have Disney Now and then they have Disney Plus. But I think Disney Now never really they didn't really promote it the same way. So it was never, a way that they sort of pushed it. But HBO has suffered from that. They've also got lots of other things like Crunchyroll and this DC app that they've got that in reality now they probably should start looking at kind of merging it. But it's almost like, did they not want to do that in case HBO Max didn't work? You have a big issue as well. They don't look to be taking it internationally for years. They were just focusing on the US, which might come back to bite them. But they're like the analysts and a lot of the feedback afterwards have been like, it just didn't make as much waves as I think people were expecting. And I don't know if it was that $14.99 price point or if just the fact that so many people have got HBO already was like, well, we've already got it. And I don't know if that was the main thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. I know they've got a lot of content on HBO Max that they don't have on regular HBO, which might be that point for pushing people over to the $15 price point. Obviously, a lot of people who don't have HBO regularly are probably not going to add it just to get HBO Max. In fact, many of them are probably going the cord cutter route, as we talked about in the future, in the near future. We have talked about in the past about the near future. That's what it is.
I mean, it's kind of strange because, like, obviously, like it's not international. So I was looking at it right now, like if they launched it in the UK, I would be a little bit along the lines of, because we've got HBO literally just signed a brand new contract with Comcast/Sky to do a multi-year deal. So all the HBO content is all going over to Now TV for us. So it's a little bit along the lines of, I like a few of the HBO shows, but I'm not and also it's not really a big international brand. It's very they don't really push it too much elsewhere. HBO on its own, I'd be like, well, I've watched like 2 or 3 shows. It's not big here. It doesn't mean, because they've always been on Sky and pushed as like Sky shows. So I don't associate them. Game of Thrones was on Sky here. That kind of problem that you've got. It's almost like a Netflix original where sometimes they're not Netflix originals, but the way they advertise them, it's the same thing here. So looking at the back catalogue, I was looking for going, well, there's a lot of lots of Fox movies, lots of great Warner Brother movies. I mean, there's loads of Warner Brother movies stuff that I love, like Looney Tunes and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know if I would watch them. I mean, they've obviously got the Cartoon Network. Have they got the Cartoon Network? Is that in there? Or is that
they've got Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, which are kind of competing versions of whatnot. But they've got a number of good shows on those as well. The one that I was looking at was Samurai Jack, which I always wanted to watch as a kid but never got a chance to, so I might go back and do that. But what you're talking about is kind of the same thing with Disney Plus as well. For some people, all you really want is the new content. You want The Mandalorian, you want Falcon and the Winter Soldier, maybe High School Musical, the series, stuff like that. But there are other people who are like, I just want to watch the old Mickey and Donald shorts from back in the day. Donald's flipping pancakes and the chipmunks are harassing him because the acorns and all that. And that's the same with the Looney Tunes. Maybe you want to see Wile E. Coyote falling off a cliff and having an anvil drop on his head, or Bugs being a jerk to Yosemite Sam or Daffy. For me, I'm not really interested in going back to the old Looney Tunes cartoons. I grew up with them. I remember watching them right alongside the Mickey Mouse shorts, and I had a great time with them. But I don't have the same nostalgia for them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's not a draw for other people who like. You know what? The Disney cartoons are too tame. By comparison, the Looney Tunes, they've got shotguns and TNT and faces getting blown off and all sorts of stuff. And it's over there. It's sitting there in HBO Max if you want that. And they've got the whole back catalog. Well, most of it. I think
that's been one of the big key things is the variety, because there is a lot of variety, lots of different things, and kind of has helped, there's been that kind of thing of going, oh, look what they've got. Disney Plus has got like this. And it's like, there's been a number of people that have been saying it, and then you kind of go, yeah, but do you remember Disney Plus is like almost a third the cost? For $12.99, you'd get ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, so you would have that massive amount of variety. It's like, I understand you comparing it because that's the thing of obviously what everyone would do right now, but it's like it is, $6.99 a month, and it is they've got their core brands. Because I find that with the HBO one, of some of the brands I look at it and go, yeah, that's a cool brand, Warner Brothers. And then it's like Adult Swim and Crunchyroll and like Rooster Teeth. And you're like, well, to me, Rooster Teeth is just a YouTube channel that with a load of people like doing Let's Play videos and Inside Gaming that I watch, and a few other bits in Funhouse and stuff. And it's like, well, you gonna, yeah, and you look at that and you go, well, they've not really gone into that very much. It's like, well, here's a few things that we're going to throw up, but the brands are much more erratic on HBO Max.
Yeah, it's not consolidated like it is with the Disney. You've got the Marvel brand, you've got the Star Wars brand, you've got National Geographics, and you've got just Disney proper.
Yeah.
This one is all over the place, but that does mean that there's kind of a better chance that there is something for you in HBO. Like, Disney is very distinct in what their brand is. Obviously, there have been some arguments and consumer dissatisfaction as they realize, no, it really is meant primarily for kids. Whereas HBO, if you've got kid stuff, you've got Sesame Street,
and then you've got The Sopranos,
and then you've got The Sopranos, or Game of Thrones, or Westworld, or heck, stuff that's even more mature than that. For my thinking, I kind of think of them as complementary services, Disney Plus and HBO Max. In a family situation, Disney Plus is what's safe to watch when your kids are around, even if you want to watch something a little more mature, like The Mandalorian. Certainly had some bits that would be pretty intense, but it's safe. You can turn it on and you can let the kids decide, and you know that you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of line of Hulu kind of offers that thing, and I am very much a strong thing of, I still believe that Disney Plus would be stronger as one with Hulu in like a Disney Plus Hotstar. I mean, I just literally just put up an article today of what's coming to there, and they're getting Ford versus Ferrari, and they're getting Terminator Salvation, the new Terminator movie, and it's like
Dark Fate,
and because it's a 20th Century Studios movie internationally, and it's like, okay, it's like instantly, oh yeah, you're getting some big, and like Jojo Rabbit and things like that, and like, yeah, we're getting something a little bit more meaty with those things. But Disney have kind of picked the line. It's going to be interesting where all this leads going forward, because I still think Disney are watching, learning, seeing what's going on. They want to maybe see if you can get two things going. How Hulu's going to look in a few years' time might be a bit different. And once HBO Max, and then we're going to get Peacock and a few other things. But the problem is right now, as well, as people are going to start going, I can only drop in and out on some of these. I can't have all 6 services. I mean, most people are going to have probably 3 to 4. I know a lot of people go, I only want Netflix. Well, those days are gone now. You can't really do that. But, people are going to chop and change. I know for like me, one of the HBO shows I really liked was Chernobyl. And that might be something that I would have dropped in for a few months and watched it because of the good reviews. But then, to be honest, I probably would have dropped back out. And that's ultimately where the issue comes in with all of it. But I think, like, right now, Disney are at that disadvantage with HBO Max of not having that variety, but also them just losing a massive chunk of, you think of all those 20th Century Studio movies that are going to be out over the next 18 months, hopefully. I say, it's like New Mutants. They couldn't look like they could do anything with that for Disney Plus or Hulu because of that contract, and they're just stuck with it. And we're just but the only good thing is that at least HBO does be much more transparent about what's going to be leaving. For example, we know that the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules or something, is leaving HBO Max this month or tomorrow. So we know that then that's a possibility that's coming to Disney Plus. But we also know that, like, the Home Alone 4 movies are going to be arriving on HBO Max in the coming days ahead in June. So we'll get an idea of when things are coming on and off. But yeah, it is kind of quite strange.
Yeah, and I would actually like Disney to incorporate both of those sections that HBO Max has right up front. The coming soon, which is always nice to know. I know they've gotten better about announcing them, but they're not necessarily in the app itself. And I realize a lot of people don't bother going to places like what's on Disney Plus to find out, what's coming soon. But they also have that leaving soon. So I can go, I wanted to check out The Meg or Braveheart or Tropic Thunder. I realized there is now a time limit on my ability to see it, so that bumps them up the priority scale.
Well, I mean, just a prime example of that really was recently, back in April, Grand Theft Auto 5 was going to be leaving Xbox Game Pass, and then you knew like 2 weeks ahead. So I just played for it as much as good. I knew I was going to complete it. I'd already completed it before. But there was another game that I was on there, and it was like, that's leaving in 2 weeks. Oh, right, I've got no chance of actually getting into that in time, so let's just scrap that one from my schedule. So it is important to have that kind of transparency. I think Disney's they don't seem to like that kind of, anything like slightly negative about Disney Plus. They don't tend to advertise. I just feel like they should have, when Home Alone, when Home Alone left, it should have had a note saying it will be back here in July 2021, or this title is expiring in 14 days, 7 days, whatever, to give people. And I still think that that's something they should be doing, regardless of what platform it is. They do it on Hulu.
But it's more than a Disney Plus thing. Disney, of course, is extremely protective of the brand, and anything that could reflect negatively on Disney, even to a very small amount, tends to get rug swept pretty quickly if they can get away with it. And if it's something they can't rug sweep, then they will hopefully, more often than not, do something positive with it. But there is definitely that sense of don't do things that make the mouse look bad.
Yeah. I think as well as they don't want that whole thing of that leaving scene, but there might only be one or two things in there, but they don't like the image that it gives off, because as people keep putting, I go, they said nothing was going to leave. Well, you didn't quite say that. They subject to contracts.
We said nothing was going to leave, asterisk.
Yes, but there we go. So that is so we will be keeping up with everything that's happening with HBO Max. I will be monitoring what's going on, because in some ways, what's leaving Netflix is becoming less and less interesting, because that's they're all kind of slowly drip feeding off. But yeah, so moving on from there, let's go into some other news from this past week. So we got a new trailer for Secret Society of the Second Born Royals. Try saying that one. What is it with some of these titles that Disney Plus doing? Let's try and get 7 different names in it of. Between that one, Diary of a Future President, and the High School Musical, the series. But yeah, so we've got the trailer. So what did you think of that one?
It looked interesting enough. I got vibes of The Descendants out of it. Same kind of acting style, shooting style, kind of the slightly.
It is a Disney Channel movie.
So. It is a Disney Channel movie, yeah. But being able to say no, this reminds me of The Descendants, I think is probably a good indicator, because The Descendants is very popular, and I could see this falling in that same kind of niche there.
It's kind of weird, and it's kind of like a princess movie with spy movie, but with a superhero movie, all kind of locked in. It's going to be dropping onto Disney Plus. I'm just going to bring up the date now, July the 17th. So not long to go on that one there. I thought it looked fun. It's the kind of movie that I would watch on Disney Plus. It's not a movie you'd go see on cinema. I mean, I'll be honest, I did kind of enjoy Descendants. I haven't got around to watching zombies or anything like that yet. It's just it looks fine. It's a Disney Channel movie. It was not meant for me. It looks fine. It looks fun, and it's going to be very popular. And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, as well, with her being from Andy Mack, that's going to bring in a draw as well. Yeah, and I think between this and Artemis Fowl, I think they're actually kind of. You can tell the difference with where the budget is sort of Disney Channel versus movies. But I think this is going to be a big success. I think this is going to be much bigger maybe than like Zombies 2, which I don't think really hit the same mark that this one will.
Yeah, we'll see how it does. But I'm definitely going to check it out when it hits Disney Plus. Again, not the target audience. I haven't really seen The Descendants. I am aware of large parts of it from interacting with nieces, nephews, things like that, but I haven't actually seen it. That said, I probably will at some point, maybe even in the lead up to this, just to get an idea of what to expect. But it doesn't hurt to have it, and I agree with you. It's going to be pretty popular.
Yeah, so that's cool. So let's move on from there. I mentioned Diary of a Future President. That has been announced that it will be renewed for a second season. Don't know yet when that's going to be arriving on Disney Plus. We don't know if they filmed it or if they are going to be filming it, but this one is actually made by CBS. It's like kind of an external show that they buy in. I thought this one was done. I didn't think we were going to get this one, because the other Disney Plus shows like The World According to Jeff Goldblum, High School Musical, and The Mandalorian all got announced while they were still running. This one's been gone quite a while. It's like something like Encore. I'm not expecting Encore to return, but I thought this one was done. But I will be honest, I'm kind of looking forward to it, because I would like to know more about Bobby's story. I think they need to do a bit more work with Elena to get her over, but also more of the president, which I think is the important thing where they're going to be moving forward. And I'm really hoping that they can kind of get this out maybe after November and just don't let it, because I think it struggled with the current situation of everything that's going on politically, the title just has caused problems for people to not watch it or to get turned off from it. And I think there's some really good stories in there. I hated it to begin with, but I gave it a second go and I did enjoy it. But I do think it's had that issue of what it was at the beginning.
I've only seen the first episode.
Yeah.
Not planning to go back to it, but it did seem to have like a bit of an identity issue in the first one. What direction do we want to take the show? And it sounds like it's stabilized.
Yeah.
And even if this isn't a show for me, it's good to have that variety on Disney Plus, because not everyone is there for The Mandalorian. Not everyone is there to see the Marvel shows. You need to have that range of shows. And it does seem like it's a good show for younger teenage girls, or even, getting tweens, into the tweens, getting a little bit higher than the tweens. Having a show that they can turn to look at and that talks about the issues growing up, it's important to have it there.
Yeah, no, I will be honest. It was one of those shows that there were some stories that was like, oh, okay, but they kind of pulled on it, and there was things like like having their first period and going and buying bras and stuff. And it's like, yeah, okay, I'm not the target audience, but the family aspect and especially with Bobby with his sexuality, that kind of all came into it. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of thinking this show is worth it. But yeah, I was really, yesterday I was like, we were literally talking, weren't we? We were going, it was a bit quiet week for Disney Plus news. And then literally within seconds had the press release drop in and go, oh, no, they've announced something. So it's a bit weird.
It's still a quiet week, but at least you get that little bit of extra. Oh yeah. Okay. Good news.
Right, moving on from there, we also saw the trailer for Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge, which is now going to be coming to YouTube this coming week on, I think it's June the 3rd. 2 episodes available on the 3rd, and then episodes dropping weekly. It's going to be on the Star Wars Kids YouTube channel, rather than it being a Disney Plus original. And the reason they put in the press release was they want it to be seen by as many people as possible. Which I was like, oh, in this current climate, it's like, well, here's a gift to people. And I was a bit like, and like in the Facebook group, in our Facebook, all the mods and stuff, we're all a bit like scratching our heads going, this is the weirdest like thing ever. Because the show looks quite fun. Looks like Stephanie up. And there was almost like, okay, yeah, Disney have kind of decided they need to get something out for Star Wars for kids. And they don't think this is going to pull it in for Disney Plus by the looks of it. I'm hoping it will be added afterwards, because I expect it to be, because it just says it's debuting on YouTube. Right, that was the key word there, was debuting on YouTube was the strange one. But what did you think of that trailer?
I thought the trailer was fine. Reminds me a lot of Legends of the Hidden Temple from the old Nickelodeon days, which is a very beloved kids obstacle course show from back in the day. And I think it's has a resurgence right now. It's definitely the kind of thing where if I was a kid, I'd be pestering my mom and dad, be like, can I do that? Can I go and do that? But yeah, it coming to YouTube is an interesting thing. Their phrasing and their press release was really weird. I suspect it's more of the kind of thing where right before Disney Plus launched, they had one episode of High School the Musical on the Disney Channel, kind of as an advertisement for if you liked this, come over to Disney Plus. And while I'm not following their logic on the YouTube, or at least their stated logic, I could see it as hey, this is what the kind of thing that you're missing over on Disney Plus. Here we're being magnanimous and generous by dropping it to you on YouTube, but hey, don't you want to kind of pop over and see what you're missing on the other side of the fence? Yeah,
there was a couple of, it reminded me a bit of like, for us, we had shows like this as a kid, like Nightmare, and you had The Crystal Maze and Funhouse. So those kind of shows, there was a lot of adults going, can they do an adult version of stuff? That looks a lot of fun. The only thing that got me is, why drop it on the Star Wars Kids YouTube channel? Because it doesn't even have 200,000 subscribers, rather than putting it on the Star Wars main channel, which has got millions. And they're thinking, well, in reality, our YouTube channel is only like a quarter smaller than that. I was like, I'm not spending the budget they've got on those shows. It's just like, okay, that's not a huge amount of, it's almost like, are they trying to get more kids into Star Wars because they're feeling like they're drifting away? Maybe that's, they want the next generation. I don't know. It just seemed very strange. The trailer looked fun, I'll be honest. I will watch the first one as long as they don't geo-lock it, because they have a tendency to do that with YouTube sometimes. But yeah, I watch it on Disney Plus. But strange way of just moving it. The only thing I could see is that they didn't want to put it out as a Disney Plus original and then put it on YouTube, because that makes Disney Plus look weak. Whereas if you do it the other way around, no one would notice.
Yeah, it's we're debuting it on the Disney Channel. We're debuting it on YouTube. We're debuting it on Netflix or whatever, and then it's coming to Disney Plus. It definitely is a different look than, well, it's on Disney Plus, and then the kind of implied the numbers weren't as good as we thought. So here, have it on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of it. I mean, this is the whole issue with them moving into this weekly drop and monthly drop and doing them, like things like the Big Fib. Will that ever be kind of heard from ever again because
what
of doing
show?
it?
I don't remember that show.
Yes. Moving on from there, Disney Plus is set to launch in Japan on June the 11th. Had been previously announced, but now we've had it officially confirmed. It'll also be replacing Deluxe Disney, which was a streaming service they launched last year. So if they're a member of that, they can already automatically get into the new one. They never released any subscription numbers for that one, so this will probably be another big boost for Disney Plus subscriber numbers globally, because there's a lot of people in Japan and Disney is very, very popular. Again, just kind of keep building on that momentum of going, hey, we've got this many. I mean, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they hit 60 million subscribers by the end of next month with Japan folding in.
Yeah, Japan absolutely loves Disney. They've had a love affair with it since way back in the day. The one area I could see them getting hurt in the Japan market, or maybe not performing as well, is because they don't have the Studio Ghibli films, which of course originate in Japan, and they're on the HBO Max. I don't know what the right situation.
They're on Netflix everywhere else in the world.
That's right.
I don't know about Japan. Japan might be doing it different.
Either way, they're not on Disney Plus here or in Japan, and Studio Ghibli is generally considered one of their national treasures. So not having it is kind of an impact, but they're still going to have all the Disney content, and it's going to do really well over there.
Yeah, I mean, having been out to Japan in the past and been to Disneyland out there, and been around the shops and seeing how everyone, all the merchandise and all the signs everywhere. It's like, there is no doubt that they are there's massive Disney fans. It's going to bring in a lot of subscribers, and it's just going to help continue and also this is where I kind of look into it now of the more it keeps branching out, the more money is going to be spent on originals, because they're being sold now internationally. It's not just about, Big Fib might not do very well in America, but it might do amazing in India or Japan. You just never know how that's all going to work out.
Yeah, and it's worth remembering, of course, going back to the Imagineering story, that great documentary from the launch. They were talking about bringing Disney into Japan, and they're like, we don't want to deal with this. We're launching Florida and Japan, and it's like, okay, just send them a stupid offer that nobody would ever accept. And Japan was like, yes. This is perfect. Give us Disney. We don't care what the terms are. That's how crazy they are for Disney.
And it's packed all the time. The theme parks are always heaving. There's no. Yeah.
I was looking forward to going to Disney Sea later this year, November. Doesn't look like it's going to happen with the current world climate. I will get there at some point, but it's consistently ranked, excuse me, in the top 5 theme parks in the entire world. So,
I did really enjoy Disney Sea. It's kind of funny as well, because certain things like, for example, like Soarin', I did in Tokyo first. So it was like, and then I was like, I got on the ride in America. Went, I've been on this in Japan, kind of thing. It was just like, and I remember as well, it was like the Indiana Jones ride. They had it out in Japan, and when I went out to Disneyland in California, I go, they took this from. It's like, no, it wasn't. But no, it's just that kind of thing. So it's going to be a big thing, really, for Japan to be moving forward. Moving on from there, for fans of The Simpsons, the aspect ratio has now been fixed on the first 19 and a half seasons. You can now go in. You have to make sure your app is updated to do this. You go in on the episode. If you click on the details option before you start the show, you'll have a little option to flick it. This has apparently been a major technical issue. That there was a whole article that went up on like the official Disney streaming website about how they did it and all the aspect. I mean, real technical. I mean, these are almost like industry blog kind of things. I mean, these are so in detail and like they just didn't want to break the system, because everyone's been going, well, why is it taking them 6 months? It should be easy to do. It's like, they've really they've built it in so that it didn't bring down the system. And I think they didn't want to have alternate versions of the same track. It is all like variation. I don't know. It's very, very technical, but it's all there. And yeah, I mean, I was always that kind of thing of like, I sort of flicked it on and off. I got through about nearly most of the season one, and I actually wouldn't have even noticed had somebody mentioned it. To be perfectly honest, it was just one of those things. If it's a 30-year-old TV series that just looked a bit funny, I just assumed that was a problem, but there was a much bigger problem going on that I was unaware of.
It's one of those things where if you're not used to some of the visual gags, like the infamous Duff beer, where they had the 3 different brands of Duff, but they're all being fed from the same chute, which you don't see in the aspect ratio that it launched with. You wouldn't know you're missing that joke. But Simpsons does have a lot of hardcore fans. We're talking on the same level as Seinfeld, The Office, a lot of the shows we mentioned earlier on, and they noticed that, and it was an issue because you do want to get the proper experience when you're watching a show like that.
And it's one of those things that there is no dispute in the fact that The Simpsons is the one, if not most popular things on Disney Plus. That it is in, is there in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Those two, they ain't going anywhere. Those two are on mass repeat. The Simpsons just keeps nudging back into the top one, getting on the trending chart that I do every Sunday, and it's like that thing. It just is not shifting, and I don't think it ever will. I think it's got that built-in thing of just people watching, and I do it as well. I just chuck on an episode of The Simpsons when I got, I'm about halfway through like season 2 or 3 right now. I just put it on and just kind of leave it on in the background and just kind of carry on. And yeah, it's a massive thing for a lot of people, and I'm just glad it's been sorted. I am sad that it took them that long to fix it, because it is an issue that had happened before with streaming, where it had originally launched in the wrong aspect and they'd had to fix it on whatever platform it was on before that. I think it was Simpsons. It was Simpsons World.
Oh, that's right.
Or FXXXXXX or something.
That's right. Yeah, the FXX app. And they had fixed it at that point, so it should have launched that way on Disney Plus. And I know a lot of people were like, "This is something we've seen before. Why is the same mistake being done twice?" The fact that it took them 6 months to fix it suggests, I mean, in addition to this blog post that you're talking about, there were some serious technical hurdles which you would not expect. It should just be, here's the file, chunk it up, and upload it for people to. And apparently it was not that easy. I'm very interested to read this article, actually, because
I suppose there's that whole thing of if they took the old one down and put the new one up, they can't offer the two. They then can't have 2 versions of the same track running, because then they're basically completely 2 different files, but counting as 2 separate files. And then if you've watched one and you stop one halfway through, and then you're going to get someone drop in and go, well, I was halfway through the episode, why is it dropped down and why is the bars in? There you're not going to get all that. So there's been a lot of technical issues that we probably, easy way of looking at it would have been, we'll just replace the original files, but then everyone would have lost where they were watching, and the sequence would have been all out. You just don't know what else it would have caused on top.
And I do know that in a lot of cases for streaming content, they're built on caches. The first person to watch something builds the cache, and then as it gets picked up again, you just pull the cache file rather than processing the entire video over and over again. And now you'd be doing 2 parallel Simpsons streams of the same content. It basically doubles your load without any benefit on their side. So it's never as easy as it seems, and that's definitely, and it's hard to describe because at the end of the day, all you really want is to sit down, turn on Disney Plus, and watch The Simpsons, and you don't want to worry about whatever's going on the back end.
No. Moving on from there, Ant Farm has been confirmed that it's going to be coming to Disney Plus on June 26th. That'll be all 3 seasons. Again, a very popular series. Never heard of it. To be honest, it was one of those things of, the only reason I knew about this show was the amount of emails, texts, messages, and comments every single time we posted anything about this show. It's this kind of weird thing of like, I even know like what shows people are really after. You get the gist of, someone goes, I want this show, and go, okay, never heard of it. Nobody ever asks for it again. And there are certain shows that people are going, I want this. I want Dog and His Blog, and I want House of Mouse, and I want Roly Poly or something. There's certain shows which are getting repeated over and over again, and Ant Farm has been one of those ones that have been eagerly requested. They got the stars on. They did a little video post and stuff. Kind of strange because Australia put up the list and that it was available on that day, but we weren't too sure if it was going to be international. Then they put out the release and said it's coming to everywhere else. But yeah, just another big Disney Channel show. A lot of people are excited about this one.
Yeah, I never heard of it. And since I'm not on the Facebook page, I don't see the requests the way you do. So when this popped up, I'm like, Ant Farm. Cool. So I didn't really think anything of it. It's like, okay, back catalog item, check, good to go. I didn't realize it was like, oh, let's get Ant Farm on there. If it's that popular, I'll definitely check out at least a couple episodes.
Yeah, I mean, is this kind of rolling thing? We're going to have an article going up a couple of days where we'll be update because Josh does an article where he basically just lists everything that's not on Disney Plus. And I think our next update, I think it's going to hit like 600 movies and shows that aren't available. Of just like there is so much back catalog, and so many people are like talking about why is this not on there? Why is this not? And it's like, well, some of it's not just contracts. Some of it is being deliberately held back for a bigger impact,
and some of it also they still need to upscale the resolutions and maybe clean up the filters and things like that, and
also probably contracts as well with the actors and stuff. Depends on the contracts that they've got as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's all sorts of things we don't know about.
No. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Another one that kind of came up this week, and this is one I think we're definitely going to be interested in. Kingdom Hearts animated series. Now, this one had been rumored it's been going around for years, but it kind of picked up steam a few weeks ago. But it was a kind of thing of like, everyone's like, it was coming from one source that we're not too sure about. And then a load of other people started reporting on it. And then like some of the big people that, that I would look at and go, you've got like Grace Randolph, you've got the Diz Insider, you've got Jeremy over at, I think MCU Cosmic. It's like, and also Daniel. There's quite a few like what we would normally call as scoopers were kind of dropping it and saying, no, it's happening. And also apparently Square Enix are making it for Disney. Disney wanted to do it themselves, but didn't quite work out. And there's a pilot has been made. And I think it's going to be completely CGI, going to look basically no much more different than it does maybe in Kingdom Hearts 3. I'll be honest, as someone that has played through, 5 or 6 of these video games and completed it, I've literally this morning got Final Fantasy VII for my birthday. So I did 2 hours of Final Fantasy this morning, and I've done Final Fantasy 15 only a couple of weeks ago and finished. So I'm in the zone. I'm on board on this. I'm just like, yeah. But please start from scratch. Please restart this whole story from the beginning, like someone has got no idea what this is. Do not just drop it in, because I've played through all these games. I still don't know what's going on.
I am cautiously interested in it for very much the same reason. The story has never been the strong part of Kingdom Hearts. I know there are people who will very vehemently disagree with me that, but I stand by it. The story. The overarching story, I should specify, because when you play Kingdom Hearts, there's really 3 different stories at any given time. There's the story of the world you're in, there's kind of the story of the game, and then there's the huge, like, War of the Keyblade, Xeno, etc.
The multi-arc that goes from, like, just goes across
everything, which is completely and utterly nonsensical, just straight up. And it's pretty clear that they're just making everything up as they go along, which is fine. I mean, plenty of shows do that, but yeah, the story is just totally out there, and they're just, how do you explain this? Well, we're just going to make up a new term to explain it over here. And it's like, it's the heartless who's got his heart back, but then it gets heartless again. It's like, whatever. Yeah, dude, I don't
some
care.
kind of like, and there's decoys and people without hearts that are copies but then they turn into other versions of themselves, because was it Roxas is not the same, is a copy of Sora but without the heart, and then there's the Organization 13, and they've been around since the Key Wall, and it's like, and I'm like, this is someone that has put 200 to 300 hours into Kingdom Hearts, and I still
it's quite telling. You go to YouTube and you Google in explain the Kingdom Hearts, and the shortest video or the shortest like compilation of videos will be like 15 hours long, and it will be in 20 different parts, because that's how long it takes to explain this stuff. I would like them to, if not a reboot, at least a streamline of the story, kind of throw some of the stupider stuff out there. I mean, some of it was obviously like for game purposes, like they had the whole card thing with the Game Boy Advance game, and they had the Pokemon battles in one of the other games, which I actually really enjoyed. But
Yeah.
give it a better explanation, or don't even give it an explanation. Just like this little creature thing wants to help you out. Fine, that's all I need. We're good. The creature's cute.
I am wondering if there's going to be any of that Final Fantasy stuff in there, like will we see Cloud? Will we see mentions of gills? And will we see
but
the money?
it's not Kingdom Hearts if it doesn't have
no,
those characters.
As the games have moved on, they've moved further and further away from that. Like Kingdom Hearts 3 didn't have a lot of Final Fantasy stuff. Kind of funny now, like I said, of spending a few hours with Final Fantasy 7 this morning, of like so much. Oh, that's from Kingdom Hearts. That's from, and I was the same thing when playing through through Final Fantasy 15. I've gone, oh, that's from that. Oh, and then like I'm going in the opposite way around, where I'm going into Final Fantasy after Kingdom Hearts, and I just really like it. I'm really looking forward to this. I think as well, if they do it like the CGI, like they do, because it looks beautiful, and the Square Enix can do some amazing artwork with these Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts games, and I'm just like, yeah. And with Japan launch, this could be a massive hit for them. I think not doing it live action and not just do it the way it looks in the video game, because Kingdom Hearts 3, the CGI bits in that there looked stunning.
Let's be honest, if they did it live action, a lot of the fashion choices they made would look ridiculous, and not in like, haha, that like Milan fashion show ridiculous. No, just absolutely ridiculous. Like, stick with the CGI at the very least. There you can go, well, it's exaggerated. It's artistically represented.
I mean, I think just literally on the lines of Sora just trying to track down Riku and Kairi because they've been kidnapped by Xehanort. We'll see. Even I'm getting the names now. That's
but Xehanort means several different things depending on which game you're in,
and also depends on which time zone he's in. So, because it's very. I'll be honest. I'm completely in. This will be something that I will be watching, no doubt. I love the whole aspect that it integrates different characters. I know there's a lot of people saying, well, they couldn't do that with Kingdom Keepers and all the different franchises. Like, Kingdom Hearts is different because it's going to be animated. It also means it's they can keep away from like from like Marvel and Star Wars a little bit easier. I mean, they can do. I don't know. I think it's a lot easier for them to do it in animated the way that they're doing it, whereas Kingdom Keepers as a live action series becomes much harder to do. To bring in like Maleficent, because in an anime, it's just a cartoon, and people view it differently than in live action.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that this already exists in animated form. We're used to playing it in video game. It would be a bit of a shift to see it with live action or hand-drawn animation, something like that. Kingdom Keepers, it only exists as a book before this point, so you can do it in any interpretation you want, and you can't say, oh, well, traditionally it's been hand-drawn animation. No, traditionally it's been a book. We're showing it on TV now. I
mean, in Kingdom Hearts, I think it was Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, they did actually have a special like hour-long like movie where it was telling the story of the Kingdom Wars that you get in the Kingdom Hearts Union X mobile app. It's just, it's like you're throwing all these things, and if you don't know what Kingdom Hearts, this is just like me going blah 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 blah. Oh, this is taking a lot of. Yeah.
If you don't know Kingdom Hearts, this is scratching not even the surface. This is the surface of the surface. These are the easy parts.
Yeah. But this is the thing of like I went down the rabbit hole and I'm in. I'm just like, but I'm looking forward to it. I think this is perfect. I think this is exactly what Disney Plus needs. And also it'll appeal to adults just as much as it'll bring in a new generation of kids. I just think this is just all around. It's just a no-brainer.
I think that the main focus just needs to be on having a fun ride with it. And that was what the first Kingdom Hearts really had going for it. Was you've got Sora, you've got Squall from Final Fantasy VIII, you've got Tifa and all these characters, and you're just like, it doesn't make sense, but it's fun to hang with them. And then you're in Tarzan's world. I hated that world so very much. You've got Alice in Wonderland, and you go, oh, this is cool to see the Disney characters in this sort of different situation. Doesn't make sense, but whatever. We're having fun while we're doing it. And as long as the show can capture that element of fun, I'll be willing to accept it still not making any sense. Just let us enjoy it.
I mean, if you've never seen, just look up Kingdom Hearts 3 trailers and stuff, and you'll see some amazing graphics with them meeting up with like Rapunzel and Toy Story. It just looks like it came out of the movie. This could be one of the probably better looking series that we'd see on, because this is going to be high quality, but because it's being generated by a computer, by guys, by teams that make them, and they like it depends, like if Nomura is going to be involved in actually doing the script and all the rest of it. I'm just really excited about it because it's like, yeah, cool. I love Kingdom Hearts now. I was a late bloomer on them. I didn't get in until the remixed versions came out on the PlayStation 4. So I've only been in like 4 or 5 years. But this game came out nearly 20 years ago. So this is a long established franchise.
Other than watching somebody play Kingdom Hearts 2 when I was much younger, they were a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. My introduction wasn't until 0.2,
Yeah.
Birth by Sleep remix or whatever the subtitle on that one was, which was great.
Birth by Sleep, yeah.
Birth by Sleep, but made no sense at all. No sense at all. Still, I enjoyed it. The combat, the game was tons of fun, but the story was just. If you're going to play Kingdom Hearts in advance of this, you have to start with Kingdom Hearts 1. There are 2 prequels, but still start with the first one.
Yeah, it's they're all available on like Xbox One and PlayStation 4 now. So that's kind of wraps up the news. But we'll just do it quick before we head off. What have you been watching on Disney Plus this past week?
Let's see. I got caught up on the Mandalorian, the Gallery episodes. Yeah. Those were a lot of fun. It's been getting better. Like the second episode dropped off a lot after the first, but last week this past week where they were talking about IG-11 and the practical effects was great. The week before that where they were talking about the video wall, fantastic. Loved all of that. It was great. And then other than that, since we didn't have any major releases, I kind of went through some back catalog items. I've been watching Gravity Falls, which I did not watch back in the day. This is my introduction to Gravity Falls other than catching memes of it online. And it's definitely living up to the hype. That is a really good show. And originally it was just, I should check this out. I should see what people are talking about. Now I'm like, sweet, I've got like a 30-minute lunch. I can get another episode in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up to season 2. I really enjoyed. Again, that's another one that kind of pulled me in. Of like, yeah, cool. I kind of keep feeling that a thing of like, should I get into Phileas and Ferb? Because there seems to be a lot of people liking that series, and like with the new movie coming out, but there's a lot of seasons and stuff. I did watch the new episode of the Disney Gallery this morning, the one with practical effects. Again, this show just keeps seeming to. It feels like they've reached that point now where it's not. They know it's not just about the fluff. They're not trying to sell you on the Mandalorian or Star Wars anymore. Now it's like, this is how we made the character. This is the puppet. This is how we made the puppet. This is how we moved the puppet. And I was like, okay, you've kind of gone into proper detail now. This is more than just a featurette now. It feels like it was much, much better. I really enjoyed it. Again, last week's and this week's, just so far ahead of where I thought it was. I thought the first episode was horrible, and these 2 episodes of like, yeah, no, these are great.
And I really appreciate how they were talking about how the puppets kind of informed decisions they made with the characters. Like IG-11 was pretty much going to be an almost entirely CGI character. Yeah. And then they built up a model that they could use just for reference in the shot so they could overlay it. And they're like, no, this model is actually really good. Let's actually use it in shots. And then because they're now using the model, they have restricted movements because the model can only move in certain ways. And that really helped set up how that character would move. The same with Baby Yoda, where like, it's a puppet and it can only do certain things. And even when we went to the CGI version of it for a few shots, we made sure it could only do things that the puppet could do. And it's fun to see that interplay.
They definitely seem to be. I mean, you can tell that like when they're all talking about it, of like the love and care and that kind of thing of feeling like whatever happened in that New Hope, that's all they can do. They can push technology, but it has to be based on what the New Hope was. It can't look any different. It can't look. That's a blueprint, and they can try and recreate it, and they will try to make it as easy and as good as possible. But they aren't about, rewriting the rules. It's very much set. I think that might be why so many of us loved it, was because it reminded us. Because I don't think like the prequel movies had that, and I think the newer movies have a little bit of it. But the Mandalorian, I think, was still Mandalorian and Rogue One kind of had that original classic trilogy feel to them so much more.
So the way I think of it is the sequel movies were kind of designed as the original movies, but with a modern lens. Yeah. And for a lot of points that didn't really work, but it was meant to be, this is our version of these.
Yeah.
And I think mentally a lot of us kind of got stuck on that point. We're like, no, we have the originals, give us something new. Mandalorian and Rogue One, and to a certain degree Solo, but not as much, were definitely we want to remind you of what you loved about the originals. We want to take that universe and we want to build on it, and we want you to remember, oh yeah, I love that
Sirens
scene
are on my end, by the way. Just in case you can hear them.
Oh, I could not hear them, but
that's right.
but I was so into the moment there that I couldn't hear the sirens. But
Sorry,
go ahead.
I've noticed that on some podcasts when I do it, whenever you hear a siren, they kind of say it, because I've been in the car when the siren goes off, and I'm just like, is that me?
It is important, and
yeah.
it's also why radio should ban any ads that have sirens in them, because there's a reaction when you're in a car and the siren goes off. It's like, either do I need to get out of the way, or oh man, is there a police officer right behind me, kind of thing. It's Roger. He's not in, it's not France, but it's still got its own sirens going off.
Yes. But yeah, so I definitely feel like that's been a really good push forward in terms of telling us how it feels like it's growing. It feels like they've got past the fluff, and I'm really liking that, because I want the detail. And it's interesting as well. It has probably been noticed as well that because it's not as what a lot of people were expecting, because I think they just wanted to know it was just a future peak look at season 2. Interest has dipped. And it's kind of one of those really weird things of the series was when it was popular and everyone was watching it and it was trending. I didn't like it, but as the show's gone, it's like I'm enjoying it more now that it's more in depth than when everyone was watching it. But that's just me.
And it's also making me want to watch The Mandalorian again. It's been long enough. It's been 6 months now. And we're in kind of a doldrums with new releases. Yeah, there's like 1 or 2 major releases per month, but that leaves us 2 or 3 weeks each month where you're kind of quiet period.
Yeah,
I might go back and watch. I'll watch it again.
I want to watch them again before season 2 drops. I think I might do something when that.
That's kind of what I'm going with too. Like when we find out the date for season 2, I'll probably do a rewatch right up around that time. But at the same time, this series is making me go, oh yeah, I remember those moments. I want to see those again.
I'm just trying to finish off the last few episodes of season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is on Disney Plus over here in the UK.
But not here.
No, but also season 6 just got added onto Amazon. So my plan is to try and get through, because season 7 hasn't arrived over here yet, but it's coming to, obviously, America. It's come out this past week.
The first episode started this week, yes.
So I want to get through I want to finish off season 5 on Disney Plus, then jump into, because it's only, I think, half a season. They're not full ones on Amazon. I've also, speaking of Amazon, the Hulu show, Fires Everywhere, the one with Reese Witherspoon. Little Fires Everywhere.
No idea what you're talking about.
It's a Hulu show, or been really popular in the US with Reese Witherspoon and also the actress from Scandal. I can't remember her name. Really, we've binged through 9 of the 8 episodes this week alone. So we've literally got 1 episode left. We've plowed through the season this week each night, doing 2 to 3 episodes a night. Both me and my wife have been loving that. And again, it's just that's a Hulu show. It's always that kind of weird thing of like, see them all on Hulu, go right, where's it going to land in the UK? Because it is literally, we've got 6 or 7 platforms, and you could just throw a dice and just hit a dart and just go like, where's this one going to go? Over there. Where's this one going to go? There's no like rhyme or reason where everything's going to go.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. But at the same time, it would be nice if there was a little more consistency, like we were talking about with HBO Max earlier in the show. We're definitely getting to that point where I want to watch this. Well, that one's on Hulu. I want to watch this. That's on HBO Max. I want to watch it. That's on Netflix.
I will be honest. A little just drop there. A website called Just Watch.
Yes,
very good
all the time.
We do it all the time where it's like, I want to watch a movie. Where is it? And it will tell me where it is, or where it isn't, or it's. And this is not just like Disney, but I use it for quite a lot of shows and movies. I go, where's this one? Oh yeah. Like my brother said to me, the kid, nephew wants to watch this. Have we got it? And I'm going, oh, it's on this one. I've got it. It's fine. And that just like instantly just being able to work out where a movie is, because I think once you kind of get into this line of this, Universal, you got Paramount on Viacom's one, and then you're gonna have. But a lot of people don't pay any attention to the studio. I always have. I don't know why. That kind of. Well, I don't know if it's the video collector in me of when I used to buy the cassettes. I always used to notice the packaging and the company name and all the rest of it. But most people don't. So it's always that difficult thing. But at the minute, it does feel like, especially like here in the UK, and I think as well a bit more internationally, things are dropping on short-term deals. Just every series is like on its own separate little deal, just to kind of bring some in money while they've not got Hulu out internationally yet. But yeah, I'm sure it is. Because there was a massive, great big advert for on. I was trying to see what it is. I'm sure it's Little Fires Everywhere. Little Fires Everywhere. Yeah, that's it.
I've never heard of this show. I'm gonna look it up though.
It is a Hulu original. So
really, see, I kept waiting for Hulu to have a package deal with just Disney Plus. I don't care about ESPN, especially right now when nobody is playing sports at all.
WWE is, so we're fine.
WWE is more of a narrative.
Don't ruin it.
What? You didn't know that?
No, don't ruin it for me.
Sorry. No, it is a sport. Legitimately, it's a sport. I'm just teasing Roger because I know he's a huge fan. Yeah, but like hockey, football, either American or European, all of it's all shut down at the moment. So obviously ESPN, even if I was interested in ESPN, isn't a great deal. And they never came out with if you have Disney Plus, here's the Hulu ad-free version at the bonus rate. So, which is kind of annoying, but at some point I'm just going to bite the bullet and go ahead and
I mean, the only thing really is, I mean, I think it was more the case if you could get Hulu and Disney Plus, and you would just get ESPN Plus free, but it was almost along the lines of, well, just knock $1 off and don't give me ESPN Plus. I'd be the same, because I'll be honest, I think other than there was a Ric Flair documentary on ESPN, I would never use it. I just would not use ESPN. I'm just not a sports person. I don't care what colour team you're on or what town you're in. I don't understand sport. That's just, it's me as a geek, and I don't get sports. Go sports!
I do enjoy hockey. Obviously, I got the Colorado Avalanche hanging out back here from Star Wars night. But even as a person who's casually interested in most sports, ESPN's just not. No. Television is still where you go for live sports. I know that they want to move it over to streaming. I know that they want to enhance that, but still, honestly, the sit around the television while your local sports team is playing their game is still part of the family ritual almost everywhere. Whether you're watching cricket or soccer or whatever, you've got the family huddled around the TV.
I mean, like cricket was a massive impact really on like even the delay of Disney Plus Hotstar Plus was just because of the cricket league in India, of how important it was. And yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see where all that goes. But I think that's pretty much going to wrap up this week's episode. So let us know in the comments below what you've been watching on Disney Plus, and if you've signed up to HBO Max as well, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Remember to go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe on all the different audio platforms, especially YouTube. And also, you can find us over at patreon.com/whatsondisneyplus, where you can support us from as little as $1 a month. And if you go to a certain thing, you get your little name at the end of every episode and video that we do. But on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. See you guys soon. Laters.